Greetings. It is the 47th day of the Omer. Hod Sheba Malchut. What an amazing time. Malchut is receiving upon us service. We leave and we get out of Mitzrayim. We escape from that slavery. And we need to know that we're here to serve God. Because if we don't serve Hashem, we're going to serve Mitzrayim. If we don't serve the light, we're going to serve the darkness. That's really at the core what's going on. And this trajectory of climbing up to Mount Sinai is the same trajectory as all of the challenges we go through in our lives. Whether you're building a business and you're an entrepreneur, or you're building a family, or you're climbing out of some difficult hole that you've fallen into, it's the same inner process and trajectory. It's the same inner dynamic of struggle between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And I don't mean that in a creepy, weird way, but just like we have times of expansion and elevation when things are going well and we're plugged in. We've got times of darker times when things are challenging. Light is expansion and open and going up, going towards. And darkness is falling away when we sink down, when things are hard, when things are constricted, when we're not as connected with clarity. And as we go and we recover, we go through cycles of that. That's the Chayot Vatzov Vashov. It's in Yechezkel, the vision of the chariot. But in our lives, the masters of Hasidut and Kabbalah tell us that it's navigating those ups and downs of our spiritual expansion, spiritual contraction. I worked in rehabilitation for a long time, and I've worked with thousands of people who had hit a wall and fallen into a clump on the ground. Whether it was a stroke or a massive trauma or a spinal cord injury, getting really so sick and being in intensive care on a ventilator for 3 months and coming up just like a rag in rehab, needing to pull life back together again. And over, what I saw was that the trajectory of healing is not straight. It's ups and downs, and it's ups and downs. And overall, we want a growth trajectory. We want moving in the right direction. And that's true of any endeavor in our lives. So what's this got to do with Hod and Malchut? Malchut is receiving the vision. Malchut is when we're plugged into the highest truth in self. Malchut is climbing the mountain towards Mount Sinai to getting the Torah. Receiving the Torah is the unification with purpose. That's the pinnacle. We're all going there. And it's an endless journey. We're constantly going. And on the way, it's all Ratzov and Shov. Ratzov and Shov. Going up and going down. We climb and we fall. We expand and we contract. It's very easy to think that, okay, I'm just going to learn to accept it because it's the way it is, like b'diavad, as we say in the Torah world, like work with it because that's what's happening. It already happened. You can't change it. Work with it. But no, it's much deeper than that. The Mor Anayim explains it in such a beautiful way that the only way we can come into relationship with infinitude that is Hashem is through Ratzov and Shov. We are limited, constricted. We go up, we access light, joy, expansion, learning, growth, and we come down because we need to meet the challenging places inside of ourselves that actually yearn to come close and also bring God consciousness into the difficult, challenging aspects of life. We are like a flag. We actually see it like every person is a degel. We're a flag, and we're like a lightning rod to bring divine light into the challenges that we meet, through the struggles that we experience in the challenges, the yearning we experience in the challenge. Every challenge is an opportunity to meet the grittiness of this physical world. And through yearning to be close to the source of life, we illuminate it and we elevate it. That doesn't happen unless we go down. If we're going up, we're not elevating anything except our own consciousness, and we're having a great time, and it's like, wow, woohoo, woohoo. But we're not doing God's work in the world. We got to meet the hard stuff. The hard stuff is why we're here. Our neshamas came with a mission. Each one of us has an individual, unique mission. And that's why we're here. And the way we do that mission is we meet the gritty, challenging stuff in our life, in our embodied self. We are not a sit on the mountaintop understanding. The Torah vision for humanity is to meet God, meet the challenging stuff. Be drawn out of Mitzrayim, the constriction, by this bright, beautiful light of the night of Pesach. And then back down, and we do the work of the Omer. We climb up through our midot. We meet the grittiness of our emotional embodied self, and we elevate it step by step. And that's not just Passover until Shavuot. It's all year long. It's all the time. We are getting that note right now. We're getting that sense right now. We're embodying these truths so that we can bring it into it when it's like July 23rd or whatever it is. It's the same process. The midah of hod, the midah of thankfulness, of humility, that's the midah that allows us to be in the place of descent, in the place of shov, in the place of constriction where things are hard and difficult, where the normal embodied animal soul will resist and be frustrated and angry and sad and struggling and resisting and saying, no, 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 it's supposed to be my way, not this way. Have you ever felt like that? I did a few hours ago. It happens all the time. And the point is not that we should never feel like that, but that we have this special power inside of us where suddenly we get that moment after struggling, after grieving, mourning, frustration, where we realize what we really want, and we go, thank you, Hashem. I don't know why this is happening. This isn't what I expected. I'm frustrated. It's difficult. But I know that you're good and everything you do is good and life is good. And so when we do that, we're climbing out of that ego animal embodied self. And we're pulling into the higher self. We're touching transcendent self. So we're in this little node of shov, of falling, on our way up the mountain. And we meet the hard stuff. And we feel the difficulty and the hardness. And we yearn for expansion. We yearn for success, for closeness to Hashem. We might have to reevaluate how we're doing things because it's difficult. So through that reevaluation, through that yearning, through that thankfulness and gratitude and humility of the midah of hod, where we go, well, maybe I don't really know everything. God's bigger than me. Maybe I can just surrender to that and be modeh to Hashem. When we do that, we connect to that higher life and that higher light. And that's what pulls us into Ratzo. That's what pulls us back up out of that gap we've fallen into. And then we get to a higher place because we've transmuted parts of ourselves. We've transmuted parts of the challenges of the life and the world we're in. So here we are going up and we fall down. But then we climb up to a higher place and we fall down. We climb up to a higher place. So our trajectory goes up. That's a conversation I've had with 1,000 people in rehab. Yeah, Marilyn, it was so hard when you first came and you made all that. She's in a clump. She's miserable. She's like, what am I doing? I can't walk today. I'm in pain. I can't transfer to the toilet. I can't even remember my son. I forgot, blah, blah, blah. Like the frustration of neurologic recovery is the same process. It's like, no, remember the good things. You've accomplished all these different things. Your process is like this. It's a gradual process of growth. You're trying to work with your kids and your family. You're climbing, you're falling, you're in a business, whatever it is. It's that moment of humility, of hod, of modeh, of yes, Hashem, please help me. I don't know what it is. Thank you for all of this. When we do that, we get an illumination. That's the splendor of hod. So hod Sheva Malchut, climbing up that mountain, meeting the challenges, falling, transmuting that fall. We can grieve, we can yearn, but then we transmute it with gratitude, with humility, and we get brought to a higher level. We should all be blessed to have the most beautiful receiving of the Torah, the continued ascent in our lives, day after day, month after month. Yeah. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach.